Breaking news! The atmosphere is still on fire behind the scenes for the Eagles, and the sweet feeling of that hard-fought victory over the Bengals just won't fade. Only a day or two has passed since that thrilling 34-27 win, but the energy in Philadelphia is electric. Every fan is still replaying those big plays in their minds, knowing this team has the talent and the heart to soar higher than ever. More challenges are right around the corner, but with Howie Roseman at the helm, every move feels calculated and every decision inspires confidence. This season isn't just about winning games, it's about making a statement. If you believe Howie is an excellent general manager, smash that like button with everything you've got, and let the world know in the comments, Howie, thank you for loving the Eagles. Tanner McKee just keeps proving people wrong. For the third straight preseason, he's showing the entire league that he's not just a solid backup, he's a legitimate NFL quarterback. Going against Cincinnati's first-team defense in the opening series, McKee displayed poise, accuracy, and the ability to give his receivers a real chance to make plays. We've seen this before: his touch on sideline throws, the anticipation on back-shoulder passes, and the confidence to throw on the move for a guy of his size are rare. At 6 feet 6 inches and 230 pounds, his ability to process quickly and deliver the ball on time is exactly why the Eagles' philosophy of investing in backup quarterbacks continues to pay off. If Jalen Hurts were ever sidelined, McKee looks more than capable of keeping the offense dangerous. In fact, with his 253 yards, 3 total touchdowns, and a passer rating over 135 last night, you have to wonder how long before other teams come calling with serious trade offers. Another player who wasted no time making an impression was rookie running back Will Shipley. Getting the start at RB2 behind Saquon Barkley, he showed the patience and vision of a seasoned vet. On his very first carry, a 38-yard burst nearly went the distance, thanks in part to a beautiful seal block from Tyler Steen, who continues to make strides at right guard. Steen's consistency has been questioned in the past, but his athleticism and technique are coming together, especially with veterans like Jason Kelce and Lane Johnson in his corner. At wide receiver, the biggest buzz came from Darius Cooper. The rookie out of Tarleton State didn't just fill up the stat sheet with 6 catches for 82 yards and a touchdown, he looked like he belonged. His style and build draw natural comparisons to A.J. Brown, and last night he even executed one of Brown's signature in-breaking pivot routes, leaving a defender grasping at air. His 20-yard touchdown was a masterclass in beating press coverage, using a quick release, long speed, and strong hand fighting to create separation. With performances like this, Cooper might force the Eagles to adjust numbers elsewhere just to keep him on the roster. And it wasn't just Cooper making noise. Johnny Wilson, a towering 6 feet 6 inches target, finally played to his size, coming down with contested catches and proving why the Eagles drafted him. DeVonta Smith, a smaller receiver with short area quickness, made the most of his opportunities too, catching a touchdown and ripping off a 46-yard punt return. If both continue to shine, Philadelphia's receiver room could become one of the deepest in the league. In the backfield, A.J. Dillon flashed surprising burst for a 250-pounder, while undrafted rookie Shonderick Powell showed shades of a young Dion Lewis with a shifty touchdown run. The depth doesn't stop there. Drew Kendall stepped in as the backup center, a sign the coaching staff already trusts him behind Cam Jurgens. Defensively, the interior line looked scary deep. Gabe Hall's explosiveness was on display. Ty Robinson added a sack and a tackle for loss, and Jeremiah Trotter Jr. showed his trademark instincts, always around the football. Rookie linebacker Jihad Campbell made an immediate impression with physical tackling, while cornerback Tarek Castro-Fields quietly broke up all 3 passes thrown his way. Even on the sidelines, there was a bright spot. Kevin Patullo's first time calling plays went smoothly, with the offense putting up 34 points despite keeping things vanilla. This wasn't just about preseason scoring. It was about execution, rhythm, and giving young players a platform to shine. Of course, it wasn't all perfect. Cornerback Kelee Ringo had a night to forget, struggling with lateral quickness and getting beaten badly on a Jamar Chase touchdown. With a tough slate of receivers coming this season, those flaws can't be ignored. The recent trade for Jacorian Bennett might be more than just adding depth. It could be a real challenge for starting reps. So here's the question: after watching Tanner McKee, Darius Cooper, Will Shipley, and so many young players step up in this preseason opener, do you think the Eagles' depth is the best it's been in years? Because if this depth really is as strong as it looked last night, Howie Roseman might have assembled one of the most complete Eagles rosters we've seen in a long time. The 2023 draft class alone is shaping up to be a massive success story. Jalen Carter already an All-Pro, Nolan Smith flashing star potential, Tyler Steen starting on the offensive line, Sidney Brown and Kelee Ringo pushing for defensive snaps, and Tanner McKee proving himself as the league's best backup quarterback. Add in the emergence of players like Moro Ojomo, who could start for most teams, and you start to see how the Eagles front office is building this thing to last. This is how dynasties are formed, hitting on draft picks that can produce before those expensive second contracts kick in. On the defensive front, Gabe Hall's quickness off the snap and ability to work through traffic make him a strong candidate to solidify the rotation, especially after the team traded Thomas Booker. Ty Robinson's violent hands and surprising speed for his size give him pass rush upside few interior linemen possess, though he still needs to anchor better against the run. Even Jacob Sykes, despite likely landing on the practice squad, showed flashes that could earn him a longer look. At linebacker, Jeremiah Trotter Jr. looks every bit like the high IQ, physical defender his pedigree suggests. He played heavy snaps, suggesting Vic Fangio wants him fully ready for Week 1 alongside Zach Bond. Jihad Campbell brought an immediate spark with his length and aggression, nearly coming away with an interception. Patrick Johnson continued his preseason habit of making splash plays, sniffing out a screen for an interception that nearly turned into a pick six. In the secondary, Tard Castrofield's 3 pass breakups were a reminder that roster depth doesn't just exist on paper. These are players producing in live game action. He's a long shot to crack the final 53. But performances like that can't be ignored. Eli Ricks had a mixed outing, with some penalties but also a couple of pass breakups, and frankly looked steadier than both Ringo and veteran Adoree Jackson. That cornerback competition is going to be worth watching all the way through joint practices with Cleveland and the remaining preseason games. Now, on the flip side, the struggles of Ringo can't be sugar-coated. Yes, he's fast in a straight line, but NFL corners have to transition, change direction, and recover instantly. That lack of suddenness was exposed against Jamar Chase, first on a toe-tap catch along the sideline, then on a touchdown where Chase completely turned him around. With the schedule ahead featuring stars like C.D. Lamb, Justin Jefferson, and Devontae Adams, those technique issues could become glaring weaknesses. The acquisition of Jacorian Bennett might end up being more than just competition. It could be a lifeline for the position group. On offense, Miles Hinton's back-to-back penalties at left tackle were a reminder that rookie development isn't always linear. He has the frame and tools, but consistency will be the deciding factor. International pathway player Laken Vatalahi had a rough go as well, losing reps to sheer power and struggling to anchor. The Eagles have the luxury of patience with him, but he's clearly a long-term project. Quarterback depth beyond McKee also had some shaky moments. Kyle McCord barely played, but when he did, a miscommunication led to an interception off a fluky bounce. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, while more consistent than McCord in camp, was up and down in his own right, occasionally looking rattled under pressure. It's clear that if McKee were ever unavailable, things could get dicey fast. Still, the overarching takeaway from this preseason opener is the sheer number of young players who not only held their own but stood out. For a team already loaded with established stars, that's the kind of problem you want to have. It creates internal competition, strengthens special teams, and ensures that injuries don't completely derail the season. If Week 1 were tomorrow, this roster wouldn't just be ready, it might be overqualified. And that's exactly why Eagles